Second day of Legacy, had a second person decided to ship a bit of a premium to get some alternative formats on the channel. This one is a more traditional Legacy deck, whereas yesterday was more of an all-in combo deck. This is pretty typical good Legacy stuff cards. For people not familiar, Ponder and Brainstorm are the cornerstone of the fair Legacy decks in this format. So these cards provide an amazing amount of consistency with the powerful card selection that they supply. Brainstorm, especially alongside these various fetch lands, allow you to basically draw 3 cards in certain situations where, like, if you have cards in your hand that aren't useful, you like brainstorm them to the top of your deck and then you crack your fetch and you shuffle them away. This deck is based around the idea of putting these ninjas into play on the second turn of the game. So we got Ingenious Infiltrator here. It says whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And then Yukihiro says something kind of similar. It says whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to its converted mana cost. So the basic idea is we play either Ornithopter or Changeling Outcast here, which are difficult to block on the first turn of the game. And then on turn 2, we attack with them. They go unblocked, and we ninjutsu one of these 2 cards into play. Something that's kind of sweet too, a Changeling Outcast, not only is this an evasive creature that helps enable ninjutsu, but because it's a changeling, it also counts as a ninja. So this changeling hitting our opponent in later turns will also trigger these ninjas to allow us to draw cards. We've also got Baleful Strix as another evasive threat / value card that you can like get in, pick up with your ninja, and then replay to draw another card. We've got multi-format all-star Brazen Borrower here as a way to generate tempo and also be an evasive threat that can close things out. And then we've got a couple of Thoughtseize, some Daze, and some Force of Wills, and a Miser Murderous Cut here as ways to interact with our opponent. They're going to go a little bit faster than us. So the idea is that we're going to draw a bunch of cards and then supply this disruption to make sure our opponent can't kill us before we kill them. Let's go ahead and dive on into some matches here with this one and see how it goes. A0, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Ooh, that's good to note. If you Ornithopter and Outcast on 1, and then you ninja the Ornithopter on 2, you draw 2 cards immediately. Yeah, that seems sweet. Yeah, I cut your really cheeky, grindy 1 mana artifact and just put in another Borrower and 2 Thoughtseizes into the main. That card's probably fine against some control decks, but I feel like if our 8 ninja value engine deck isn't good against the control decks, it's probably not worth playing, so decided to just add in a little bit extra disruption. A symbol, yep. Everything will be up on YouTube later as always. Yeah, I get that it has synergy with Ornithopter, but like playing a bad card to make your other bad card better, generally speaking, isn't good deck building. I feel like if you wanted it as an additional threat, I'd rather just have like a couple of Gurmag Anglers. Like, we've got a bunch of fetch lands and cantrips and discard spells. Like, I feel like if your goal was to like have more threats in the deck, you like cut 2 Daze for 2 more main deck Thoughtseize and like play a couple of big fish just because having a 7-drop with Yukihiro is good. Just have more cards that are individually powerful rather than playing a card that has cute synergy that's bad on its own to have synergy with another kind of bad card. Brando, thank you for the 12 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Get you a sword to go with that shield. Yeah, that was one of the reasons I had another Brazen Borrower when I cut it. Just like wanted more threats. I feel like if you wanted a kind of bomby threat like that to make a large threat, I would rather just like have a big fish because it's better on its own. This is a pretty easy mulligan. One land, no cantrip. It's got a Thopter, but it doesn't have a ninja. If we had a second land, we would snap this off, I think. Like one of these Dazes was a land with the Baleful Strix. I think it'd probably be passable, but without it, I think we got to play catch and release here. This is a hand we're keeping. Are we on the play or the draw? We're on the play. This hand kind of shows the problem with I'm not certain I'm in love with the one dual land mana base this deck is currently playing. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not ideal. Because, like, if this was just, like, a blue fetch, and I could fetch an Underground Sea, I could, like, go Ornithopter Outcast off of UC, and then Brainstorm on turn 2. But, like, now I have to, like, do this and Brainstorm on turn 1, which is, like, not super exciting. And like resolving this Brainstorm is important enough that I'm just gonna go ahead and main phase it here. And we wanna Brainstorm on 1 because ideally we're gonna find a black source so I can Yukihiro on 2. Worst case scenario is we're gonna brick on land and Brainstorm lock ourselves, but like this. So we probably can't win this game anymore. Because we're actually not going to have a meaningful play outside of this Daze until turn, what is it? So 2, 3, until turn 4, potentially. I mean, like, this is kind of a Magic moment, but like again, it's also worth noting that like we're in this spot because of a deck building decision, right? Like this deck has consciously decided to not play an appropriate number of Underground Seas potentially and to leverage Prismatic Vista for the upside of being able to have back to basics on the sideboard, which to be fair, back to basics is about to be really good here. This is about to be a matchup where we're very happy to have access to back to basics. Scout. Played Sakura Tribe Scout? What's a white? Oh, this is a Scout. That's funny. I will say this. Not having to deal with Cavern of Souls is one of the biggest things that's been nice about Pioneer. That card's so obnoxious. So I think we just want the Thoughtseizes. Daze is pretty bad against deck making lots of mana. I think this is a Murderous Cut out matchup. A lot of the things are going to be big and scary, and we can't cut them anyway, so we want to just like stop them from happening or try and tempo them a little bit while we kill them. Back to basics, obviously excellent, makes their non-basic lands not untap. Yeah, the Boros Feather set was good yesterday. And the really sweet thing about the Feather deck too, is I think that's a good first deck for someone to explore in that format, because there's a ton of small choices you can make with that, and like as you grow a collection you can like experiment with splashing green and blue and like kind of tailor the archetype in a lot of different ways. Schwingy, thank you for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. For people out there who are Modern fans, I'm doing Matthew a favor tomorrow morning, and I'm going to play a Modern deck to start that he asked me to give him an opinion on. So, first thing tomorrow, we're still going to do Pioneer decks tomorrow again too, but kind of like we've been doing Legacy to start, we're going to do a Modern before we do Pioneer. Again, like, this is the cost of playing a bunch of basic lands in our deck instead of a bunch of dual lands. So, I almost changed the mana base in this deck before we played today, but I saw there were back to basics in the sideboard and I wanted to play it as is. But definitely feeling, and we're definitely on the rough side of variance here a little bit. But like, again, one of the things I think people don't consider enough of the time is deck building decisions you make control how lucky or unlucky you're able to be during your games. And the deck building decisions in this deck as is have definitely positioned us to be able to get unlucky in ways we could avoid with different deck building. What's going on, Jerry? Can I ever beat this card? I feel like I can't win. Oh, back to basics beats it. Yeah, good call. Good call. All right, so we're looking for back to basics then. Any order, shuffle. Thanks, Moto. Shuffle. Allow me to shuffle. Biddies for playing the people's format. Thanks, Jerry. When you tap back to basics, you automatically get a pumpkin spice latte. Asking the real questions. So I didn't just play my ninja there because I don't want them to be able to maze it. Any order, shuffle. All right, so do I just cast this? I think I just cast this. And then next turn, I can drop the Ingenious Infiltrator, and at least one of my two ninjas will connect. And then when that ninja connects, it'll draw 2 cards. Oh, I forgot. I guess I could have Yukihiro this, and then this is a ninja too, and I would have drawn from that. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, I'm gonna have 3 ninjas next turn. I forgot this was gonna trigger. Oh, we're just like super dead, huh? I guess I should force this. I guess I should force that. I guess. Oh, that's actually a great draw. Because now I can pick back up both of these. Yeah, I definitely should have forced this crop rotation. Pitching the Brazen Borrower. So we'll get to draw 2 here. Hopefully hit a black source and replay the Changeling Outcast. No, it's draw 2, chat. They'll maze 1. I realize I've done a number of things that imply I don't understand how magic works, but I think I'm forcing that. Just because I have infinite cards in my hand at this point. They don't have any Cloud Posts yet, but I have another Force. And, like, I'm going to draw 3 cards next turn, so... God. being on the other side of this card is not pleasant. That feels real good. Oh. Gosh, if I hadn't messed this up, if I had to force this, we'd be in such a good spot right now. Back to basics, please. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Easy game, easy life. It's really easy to draw what you want when you draw 3 cards a turn. Didn't even have to show them the back to basics. God bless. That's silly. You really start drawing a lot of cards with this. Like, when you have, there's like any 2 of these out, like you draw a lot of cards. You need Jitsu in response to the mace trigger. You can if they're bad. So my opponent was doing it correctly and they were mazing me before we got to the blocker step. Oh wait, I guess you could still, they're still attacking, right? They're just untapped. Yeah, you're right. You can ninjutsu one that they've mazed. Yeah, you're right, because maze doesn't make it not attacking because of the old wording on it. Yeah, it's because of the way the old templating works. I'm going to keep this on my bottom Brazen Borrower here, I think. Yeah, it's considered unblocked. Yeah. Hey, thanks for the 14 months, Max. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Basic Island Ponder here. Well, you're currently watching Match 1, Game 3, Matthew. We've been live for 18 minutes. I think I just any order shuffle here. I'm looking for another ninja at this point. Ninjas. I'm looking for ninjas, forces, and back to basics at the moment. Okay, there's one of the 2. So I think with that drawn, I go ahead and I put Infiltrator into play here, even though they're going to get to maze it. That's basically what they're there for, Jerry. If you save them up, you can interact with the deck queue, but they're mostly there just for that. Ick. I guess with Candle, they can double maze my ninjas. Maybe this still isn't good. Hey, thanks for the 2nd month of Prime support, Steve. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Huh? All right, I'll lead on a Brainstorm here, see where we go. Brazen Borrower. I guess Brazen Borrower lets me tempo them off of this for a turn to get in with my ninjas, which is nice. I mean, you could support Wasteland as a spell. Like you could just not cut colored sources and play a Wasteland as a spell. So I think my plan here is play Brazen Borrower this turn, because if I ninjutsu off of this, they're going to untap this and just maze me again. So I'm going to play Baleful Strix, and then next turn, I can Brazen Borrower, bounce their Candle, and then ninjutsu pick back up Baleful Strix, and then one of my 2 ninjas will hit them and draw 2 cards. We could also get Veil of Summer, though, and just like, told to just like, bugger right off. So like, if they have a Veil, they counter our Petty Theft. Feels Magic Man. Feels 2019 Magic Man. Man, you know, this format is probably a lot better with Veil of Summer in it. Like, for a long time, the green decks really kind of sucked because they couldn't interact on the stack. And the fact that, like, Veil lets them interact on the stack is huge. Have a sword, Endo. And thanks for the entire year. We could just be dead here. Likely just dead, so this is going to copy Cloud Post, and Cloud Post makes 1 colorless mana for every Locust land they control. So this is 6. They untap all 3 of these, meaning they have 12 mana. Maybe they don't have a payoff? This gains them a life for each Locust land. So this taps for 4. Then they untap these 3. So they'll have 2 floating, plus 12 more, so they have 14 mana this turn. Sure. I mean, like, they have 14 mana. Oh, they get Eye of Ugin. I was like, okay, so they didn't have anything to do with their mana. They have Eye of Ugin. So we have to draw Back to Basics this turn. Back to Basics doesn't even do anything, right? Because they have Candle. Okay, so we're dead. Got it. I think trying to draw conclusions about things that happen in Legacy is kind of nonsense because there's not enough meaningful data to draw conclusions. Your best data source would be Magic Online, and Wizards of the Coast makes Magic Online data that we actually get to see artificially diverse. No, it wouldn't own as cool because they would just use their forest to untap. They would just use their forest to untap a Cloud Post, then use the Cloud Post to untap everything else later. This hand just doesn't do anything. Easy mulligan. This hand's also not particularly exciting, but it's a keep at 6, I think. We'll throw back probably basic island, and we'll fetch UC and Thoughtseize on 1. Yeah, Maze of Ith thoroughly locked us out of those games. We about to get dredged? What are other gemstone mine decks in this format? Could be a brew too, I suppose. Let's find out. Confirmed dredge. And actually, so we actually have a pretty good start against dredge here. So dredge needs to get these cards into their graveyard that allow them to start flipping over their deck. So we get to Thoughtseize a breakthrough here. And then we get to force their second breakthrough. And we just don't let them get started. So it'll just be, unless they can draw an LED or a Faithless Looting or another breakthrough, they're actually going to be in a pretty bad spot. We have 4 Leylines on the board, right? Perfect. Sign me up. There's a Force of Negation in the sideboard, too. They breakthrough'd for 1. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. You get greedy. Get dazed. Any order shuffle on these for sure. Now, one of the problems with our deck is that while we've disrupted this opponent to start, we don't have a super fast clock. So, like, our cards that eventually kill them, like, draw us a lot of cards. They draw us a lot of disruption, but they don't actually win the game particularly quickly. So I definitely want a land. I think I'm throwing back a Brazen Borrower at this point. So I'm going to throw back Island Brazen Borrower. Maybe I'm supposed to just put back 2 lands there. Because if they draw another card that gets them going next turn, I need to force. Maybe I'm supposed to keep the Borrower so I can force pitch Borrower so I don't have to force pitch a Ninja. That's going on Waterfalls. Yeah, when J-Man asked about Legacy, we had 2 people donate for it, so. Yeah, like this here. Yeah, I think I should have. I'm probably supposed to force pitching the legendary one there, huh? Since those cards are similar. The other one hits harder too. They're gonna like draw another Yukihiro and hate myself. Yeah, I should have put back the land and kept the Brazen Borrower so I could force pitching that. That's true. Yukihiro does trigger and kill them that way. That's fair. Yeah, she drains him. Yeah, she drains him. Let's get good clean living. Yeah, lack of the ability. We were talking about Gurmag Angler, so like potentially playing Gurmag Angler sounds appealing. Like here, right? Like I had a good start in terms of disruption, but like now they get to discard these 2 Grave Trolls, and like if they have another Faithless Looting or a breakthrough here, we're probably just dead. Yukihiro end games in a hurry? Not really. Maybe your definition of a hurry and mine are different. This Changeling Outcast is sweet. Does Legacy Dredge play Creeping Chill these days, or do they not have room for that kind of stuff? Anyone know? So now we'll get to see my opponent's deck go insane. So they'll skip their draw step, and they'll dredge the Grave Troll here, which lets them flip up Narcomoeba. There's a good chance we literally die this turn on the back of Dread Return. So Celeflid Coliseum here lets them draw 3 cards and discard 3 cards. So they'll target themselves with this and get a bunch of dredge going. They're gonna get to double Coliseum this turn. Yeah, I'd be very surprised if we get another turn. Now I feel like I'd start with Gurmag Angler. Like, I feel like if you were like, Jeff, how do you make this deck better? Wow, they didn't hit any dredgers, but like, they get to discard dredgers here and then Coliseum again. Or Dread Return in the main? Well, that's not true. I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised if cutting Dread Return from dredge is correct. It's the way you punk people out. Yeah, creeping. This deck list has always been tight for slots, so I'd be surprised if they have room for creeping chill. Okay, so here's how. So Bridge from Below is one of their enablers here. So what happens now is they get to Cabal Therapy me. Huh. They actually got pretty unlucky here, huh? They didn't hit any prized amalgams or any. Ooh, that's a thought. Maybe I'm supposed to have bounced the Narcomoeba? Yeah, I think you're right. If I'd have bounced the Narcomoeba there. Yeah, you're right. I messed this up. I was so busy explaining what their deck was doing, I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, if I'd have bounced this, they couldn't have Cabal Therapied it. I don't know. Like, so maybe I am right to just wait and play my 3-1. So like part of the thing is like bouncing Narcomoeba there is only good if there's not a second Narcomoeba in their top however many cards. And like the odds of there not being a second Narcomoeba is like astronomically low, right? But no, I just want to play a 3-1. I don't want to bounce a zombie. I just want to like attack them. Hey, welcome, Coology. I appreciate the brand new Prime support. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday wherever you're at in the world. If I knew they weren't going to flip a Narcomoeba, it's correct to bounce the first one. But we can't know that. And they're dredging so many cards that the odds of them not having a second copy of their 4 of, like, they're through 44 cards of their deck. So, like, statistically speaking, pretty unfortunate. Mad Dad, thanks for the 3 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Could you imagine if this was a ninja? You said fair legacy deck. I did not think Ornithopter fair. Do they play Prized Amalgam? I wouldn't be surprised if Prized Amalgam's a card they can't fit in. But if they're playing Prized Amalgam 2 and haven't hit any of those in 44 cards, I feel like they probably don't play that. This is Magic Online. Your opponents always play incredibly slow on Magic Online. Yeah, EOT is too slow in Legacy. Yeah, so Dredge is more, so modern Dredge, wait, what? Did they just misclick? Do they want to put something on top of their deck? They're targeting themselves with Cabal Therapy? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they just Golgari thugged their Narcomoeba back to the top of their deck. That's funny. I feel like the person who told me Yukihiro closes quickly deserves a timeout. I feel like this is solidly their fault. We're super dead. Alright, so Leyline sounds great. Force of Negation is good. Murderous Cut is not. Daze is probably pretty bad. Brazen Borrower is probably pretty terrible. I don't mind Thoughtseize, I don't think. I don't mind Flusterstorm. Countering their draw and their ways to get things into the discard initially is good. Oh, do I bring in Narset? This is probably too slow, huh? Do I want Engineer? Is Engineer good enough? Like, killing their stuff isn't very good. I think I'd rather just have counter spells and discard spells. Ornithopter, for the person asking why Ornithopter's in our deck, is here to provide an evasive card early. Oh yeah, Narset doesn't impact dredges, right? Because they're replacement effects. All right, so this hand's great. We're gonna bottom. I guess we bottom Ornithopter, and then we go fetch UC, play Outcast on one. Or do I just Brainstorm on one? What am I throwing back here? Is it just Thopter? Probably. It could be it could go a couple different ways, honestly. Oh, magic. Oh, peak non-rotating formats, man. I can't even call that legacy, because like that crap happens in modern too. That's just like non-rotating formats, like at their finest. For those wondering, I put Leyline of the Void into play and our opponent conceded because they didn't have anti-Leyline cards in their deck. So, in game 3, they're not going to concede to this card because they're going to have cards in their deck to destroy it. But they did not have ways to destroy Leyline in their deck for game 2, so they conceded. I'm ready for Escape to produce games like that in Standard. Maybe. I mean, the Escape cards are playable without... Like, they have functional front halves, right? Is it crazy to keep this? I feel like I'm supposed to keep this. Like, they're going to have answers to Leyline post board. So, like, not guaranteed having Leyline isn't even good enough. If I'd known we were going to draw a Brainstorm, I would have kept the Ninja. But, you know, here we are. Oh, that's unfortunate. They were smart and led on careful study. Guess I should have mulliganed for Leyline. Hard to know. If they hit another card that lets them draw cards this turn, we're probably dead. Playing with more degenerate zero-man artifacts today? Yeah, you get me. They draw a breakthrough. Just Cabal Therapy deal. I was going to name Brainstorm and take 2 of my cards. And I'm going to concede. I mean, it's correct to name Brainstorm here. So, like, Brainstorm or Force of Will. Deal. Thanks. They named Yukihiro. We could still be very dead here. Wow, I can't believe they didn't Faithless Looting. I think they played this very wrong. 1, they should have named Brainstorm. 2, they should have played the other Faithless Looting and just gotten going. They're supposed to just be linear. Also very possible on my part, it was wrong to not throw this back and keep a land, but the land wasn't going to be super useful, so I think it's right to gamble that they won't be able to flash back the Cabal Therapy. If I don't draw Leyline of the Void next turn, I'm probably going to concede. Yeah. Yeah, I have 4 land, so like if we draw Leyline, I can cast it and we can have a chance, but outside of that, we're just going to be pretty dead here. I should have mulliganed more to start. I put too much respect in my opponent's snap keeping 7, meaning they could answer a Leyline after conceding it to it in game 2. And they just like couldn't answer a Leyline. So shouldn't have given them that much respect. Should have just like gone to 4 or 5 looking for my card that they couldn't beat. All right, fair deck is less exciting than unfair deck. Lesson learned. Does it say a lot about me as a person that the modern deck I left undeleted was Neoshield? Again, like, this hand is just much worse than it otherwise could be if this was just like a land that fetched Underground Sea. I think that's right. So we're hoping to find a black source plus a ninja with this ponder. What makes a deck fair? Yeah, fair. Fair is the inverse of unfair. Combo decks are unfair. Decks that have one big flourish that kills you instantaneously is called a combo deck, which is classified as unfair in Magic the Gathering. So generally speaking, like most decks in most standard formats are considered fair decks. It's very rare for combo decks to be competitive in standard. The fact that like actual factual Kisis combo was like legal in standard at one point was wild and kind of rare. Yeah, Fires is kind of a combo deck. I agree with that. No, by definition, all combo decks are unfair. So what you're describing there, combos that require lots of setup and are fragile, they're considered bad. They're considered bad decks. There are bad unfair decks. So just because a deck is bad doesn't mean it is fair. Ah, yes. At 0-2, we've made our way into the Savannah bracket. Yeah. Started 0-2, found the non-blue deck. I guess we're actually 3 for 3 against non-blue decks in this league, huh? Cloud Post, then Dredge, then this. In my day, Bog Fanatics used to deal 2 damage when blocking. Yep. Ain't that the truth? Poor Sakura Tribelder. Sakura Tribelder could kill an X1. Ninja. Hey, look, it's another basic land, which means when I ponder, I can't cake this ninja and cast it. The mana base in this deck is so bad. Just to an unreal degree, the mana base in this deck is awful. You know, I don't think the back to basics is worth it. I feel like the correct answer is to cut down to 2 or 3 basics, just play 4 Underground Seas, cut the back to basics from the sideboard. I think I want extra ways to close, so I think I would play all 4 Thoughtseizes in the main, and I'd play 2 to 3 Gurmag Anglers at a minimum. Gurmag Angler also has good synergy with Yukihiro, triggering to drain them for 7. It's hard to know, Kinderis, whether or not it's budget or like trying to cheese people out is something that you'd have to like be in the room where it happened to know which of those 2 things it is. The room where it happened, the room where it happened. This deck could activate Tessiger, you're not wrong. That's probably not relevant. You can kind of keep your hands Is that 201, Marty? I don't know that we have a lot of Hamilton. I don't know that we have a lot of Hamilton on the playlist already. I could work on changing that slowly. So this is the part where they fetch a Maze of It, and our ninjas just don't get to do anything. Ninja! I don't think we can erase this questing beast. Oh. Oh, they're just, sure. Oh, they have a swords. Mother of Runes is a 1/1, right? Mama, do 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 do. I'm used to stepmom's a 1/2 in modern. Definitely played against more stepmoms than not. So this kills Noble Hierarch, kills Mother, shrinks some other stuff. Yeah, I think if we 0-3, I'm probably gonna be done. I don't know. I kind of am off decks when I'm played them for a few matches and have some really clean ideas for feedback already. Because my goal is to be able to provide feedback on things, and I think there's some very clear upgrade paths for improving what this deck is trying to do. Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of the tough part about, that's one of the reasons why I think, I might just occasionally do a good Legacy or a good Modern deck still. I think part of the problem with Legacy and Modern as a format is that Legacy and Modern as formats just don't really fit my model here on this stream very well. Because, a lot of the decks that people want to pay to see submitted and played tend to be fringe decks like this. And in Modern and Legacy, the fringe decks tend to be a good bit weaker than the good established decks. Just these formats that have really deep card pools, the things that are good tend to be much better than the things that aren't. So Gaia's Cradle here, taps for a green for each creature they control. Notably, don't have white mana yet, though. Yeah, on games the end on turns 2 to 3, there's less room to be cute. Is exactly correct. Alright, the person... Yeah, this current standard format is exactly like that, Gokai. That's why I've literally stopped accepting brews in standard until the new format drops. So yeah, you are correct. This current standard format is a lot like that. Which is why I'm also turning my standard segments into working on finding a deck for the tournament and not taking lots of random brews anymore. I've got a couple of random brews still in the queue, but for the most part, yeah. Pioneer and Historic have felt more friendly for that. So just to give concise feedback in a wrap-up segment on this, the mana base isn't great here. Prismatic Vista was just super awkward at multiple points. I think you just want 3 or 4 Underground Seas and like your 2 basics to fetch around Wasteland. Maybe a third if you really care about Wasteland, but like decks that operate on such a low number of lands like this, you really can't afford for your lands to not be making both colors of mana a lot of the time. Obviously, it feels bad to get wastelanded, so you want some basics to have the option to fetch around that on occasion if you can afford to, but I think you're going to lose more matches to just not being able to cast your spells where wastelands aren't involved because your colors are awkward, then you're gonna win because you had basics and they had wastelands. The second is that I really want some closing power in here. I think just playing 4 Thoughtseizes as disruption in the main deck, maybe getting rid of Daze if you don't want this much disruption overall, get rid of this Murderous Cut so you're not choking on too many Delve cards, and then playing 2 to 3 Gurmag Angler. 2 to 3 Gurmag Angler is fine. I think that would be a reasonable direction to take this in. Gurmag Angler has good synergy with Yukihiro, and that it's a 7-drop that you can dome them for 7 to close games with her, and it's just a cheap 5/5 that you can play on its own with fetch lands and Thoughtseize and cantrips, so like close games out on its own. We did win a game in the first match, so there might be something here. I do think we hit the rough side of variance. I think this draw engine seems very reasonable. I think especially with Changeling Outcast and Ornithopter, it seems like a neat thing to explore, but just like the core issue of my deck not having functional mana and not having a good way to close things out with something like Gurmag Angler, I felt like those were 2 big show-stopping issues, and I didn't really want to continue without being able to address that. Yeah, you are encouraged to make small tweaks and edits to your deck as you test it while you wait for it to be played, because I know, generally speaking, unless you donate a lot, decks tend to wait 2 to 3 weeks to be played while they get to the top of the queue, and as long as you don't change the archetype, you are encouraged to tune and adjust it while we wait for it to be played. I actually think this, just Canderous, just to give my opinion, I actually think this current standard format ended up being pretty okay. I think standard formats where there's a premier aggro deck tend to be very reasonable, and the current standard format, while it's not super brew friendly, like if you ask me to list the decks that I think are competitive in current standard, the list is Jund Oven, red-black aggro, blue-red flash, blue-green flash, Jeskai Fires, blue-white control. There's like over half a dozen decks that from a range of archetypes that are competitive in this current standard format, and the gameplay of those top decks against each other is mostly fine. There's some feel bads, but like all of Magic has feel bads, so like not every format can have infinite brews in it, but like if you don't really like the current standard format, I guess I'm not really sure what you're looking for. I guess maybe I want to play my random brew, I want to be off meta is a fine descriptor, so I would understand that, I suppose, but like, as far as like archetype diversity goes, there's a lot of archetype diversity in the current standard format. I think decks that are outside of the current established ones tend to have a hard time, but that's fine because from the established decks, there's plenty of good things to choose from. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive into Pioneer for the rest of our Moto segment this morning. We got some Abzan Ballista combo to kick things off. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while I get set up for this. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out today, folks.